Welcome, everyone. We made it. The Madrid traffic was pretty hectic, but, you know, like everything in a good production, everything gets done just on time. My name is Chris Ebeling. I'll be moderating the panel today with these esteemed gentlemen. And we are going to be talking about a panel that will explore the evolution of gaming towards greater accessibility, inclusivity, nurturing social bonds, unleashing creative expression, and generating economic avenues. And these experts are going to delve into all these amazing questions along me. But first, a little background on me. Chris Ebeling, I'm a Chief Creative Officer at Behavioral, which focuses on emerging tech, Web3, AI in the gaming space. My background is almost 2 decades in film and games and more traditional media. And I've since moved into the last 6-7 years working with new technologies, spatial computing, blockchain, AI, all the buzzwords on LinkedIn, metaverse, it's all there. But yeah, let's have an intro from our esteemed colleagues. Let's start with you, Joan.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thanks to Soft Summit to invite me. I am Joan Francesc Baño. I am the Executive Director of Game BCN. We are one of the first incubation programs in Europe, with another Dutch garden, and one of the most important incubation programs. But I sometimes say that we are not a common incubation program because we create ecosystems, because we try to connect big companies with indie teams, with universities as well, and publishers and venture capital. So we try to connect all the ecosystem and try to boost and improve them. And we have some programs worldwide, not only in Barcelona, Girona, Japan, Saudi Arabia. So we are growing a lot because the industry is growing, and we are really helped to be here. So thank you.
Yeah. Inigo.
Thank you so much. I'm Inigo Cabestany. I'm one of the co-founders of Second World Games, and we are a game development studio focused on, obviously, developing fun games like any game should do. And we focus on the mobile-first space, 3D models, and obviously we are trying to reinvent players' status quo and provide them with more than entertainment. And that is essentially to turn players into owners and decision makers of our ecosystem.
Awesome. Roy, please.
And I'm Roy. I'm one of the founders of Quantic Brains, and we develop tools for game studios and animation studios with the power of artificial intelligence to make everything easier, faster, and with the new possibilities that all these new technologies bring to the table.
Awesome. We have some really experts in the field, and we're going to get started. So, the role of accessibility in gaming. How have the advancements in technology improved accessibility in gaming? And what further innovations are on the horizon that really excite you guys?
Yeah. For me, I think it's one of the most important things now to improve it. And to create this and to boost it, we have to go together with the public administration, for sure, because sometimes the private industry can push a lot of this because it goes well. And for example, here in Spain, the Video Game Association with the Fundación 11, Fundación 11 is for the accessibility and some disabilities, etc., and so on. So they create the white book with more than 61, yeah, I think it's 61 points to improve in the video game industry, focus on it, on the accessibility and to create more, for more disabilities, etc. So I think it's one of the most important things that the private industry has to put focus on it, to reach more people, to obtain more community and more accessibility, for sure, for people. And with some of the future things that we are now seeing, for example, the AI and virtual reality, for example, helps a lot on it, because, for example, in virtual reality, people can enter in another world, so people can use his own hands to play, not a controller And it's easy to go through this direction with this kind of technologies that we have now. Nowadays.
Yeah, and if we really want to look like further ahead, I mean, you've seen what Elon Musk is doing with the neural implants, and in terms of accessibility and disability. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen, there's a video out there with a disabled patient in a wheelchair who's got a neural implant now, and he can play chess, right, by just thinking and moving the cursor and moving chess pieces around. So, I mean, the advances of technology are wild, and like you're saying, you know, virtual reality is also used as I mean, it's a cliche to say, but an ultimate empathy machine. You can put yourself in some place and some time. It's used for medical training. I worked with a company in Australia that used it for, you know, stroke patients for rehabilitation and gamifying rehabilitation, where you saw 60% increase in the speed to rehab. So, Inigo, Roy, would you like to add to any of that?
Yeah, I mean, when I started playing video games, for real, as a teenager, I didn't realize how early in the industry we were, although we were already a few decades on when I'm looking at video games. And that's probably why I got to be in the Medal of Honor Pro team, because we were just a few bunch of geeks playing, and we didn't realize how fortunate we were, because it was pretty much a luxury at the time to play video games. I would spend all my gifts from Christmas, birthday, Saint, everything I could find, having good grades, to actually buy the new graphic card that was popular, or get the new internet connection that would allow me to see a player a second earlier than he would see me, right? So obviously, I mean, when I look back, I didn't realize how the industry would evolve and actually make it a professional career for many of us, like it's my case, and probably all of us here today. So I think accessibility is one of the key drivers. I'm just not too happy with how we have made free-to-play models accessible, because essentially, and you have heard this, when you are not paying for something, you are usually the product, right? Yes. So that's a part of what we are trying to change. We want to focus on free-to-play models, but empower players with everything they generate in the virtual worlds they shape and give life to. So in this sense, for instance, data, I think, needs to be in the hands of users, in this case players, for them to decide what to do with it and perhaps monetize it in the way they wish.
Yes. This is very Web3 forward thinking, which we'll dive into in a minute as well.
Wonderful.
Roy?
Yeah, I think accessibility have two sides. One is the players, but you also get the creators, and all these new technologies give a lot of new possibilities to creators that they don't have before, because you need a lot of resources, a lot of people with different knowledge to do a simple thing, a small thing, like you say, in the times when we start playing, like the small games requires huge teams and huge knowledge. Yeah. And right now, you need the right knowledge, but it's a lot easier for creators to make beautiful games and with new mechanics and everything. I think it's really interesting times for also creators.
Yeah, so let's stay on that. That's a question that I had further down the list, but I'm going to bring it up, which is creative expression in gaming, right? Yeah. Like, how can we empower our players to be the creators, which you'll see it's been done amazingly if you're familiar with Roblox and Fortnite. Fortnite's Minecraft has been doing it first. Yeah. This is empowering the users, giving tools to you, the players, to create for you. And then if you link that alongside like key influencers, streamers, which is very Web 2 and is also a huge opportunity for, earning, is a job these days to stream games and play with, 20,000 fans watching. And now you give them the tools to build alongside the community. And for us, we built a game called Zed Run, which is a digital horse racing game. And what we saw, and that was Web3 based. So for anybody who's not familiar with Web3, what that means is you actually earn, it's a play and earn philosophy. And so through blockchain and tokens, you can then be rewarded for your participation. And what we saw was our community would then create streams and create blogs and create tools to play the game. So they actually, who better to play and speak for your story than the people who are playing, right? So in those terms, is there anything there that you want to add?
Well, to be honest, what I feel is that the industry is what it is today, not because only we have players, but because of all the ecosystem that we have created around games. So you don't necessarily need to be a pro in a video game to actually pay attention to it and spend time with it. And that's how we have created a lot of different profiles around the industry. And actually, probably the most famous profiles in this industry are not even good or pro players. No. If we look at the biggest content creators in Spain, for instance, yeah, they play video games, but for instance, they are great at creating content or narrating or streaming. So that's when brands have got interested into this industry, because all of a sudden, due to its accessibility and how we have opened up the ecosystem, we really have millions of people looking at this as the biggest entertainment driver, because it's actually the biggest one already in the entertainment industry. So that's what it's very fascinating, is that it's not only a place to play, but to interact, to create, and to have fun as a whole.
Absolutely. And I mean, we can pivot there to, unless you want to add something, we could pivot to the community aspect of gaming as well. Like in what ways has gaming fostered social bonds and communities, right? Which is a huge, again, also in the Web3 space, it's really driven by the community a lot, but so are these gaming ecosystems, as you said. Yeah. So, and especially in times like, the pandemic, we saw a huge rise in a lot of gaming. Myself, I'm an old gamer, but I have 3 kids. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have much time. But during COVID, I jumped back in, and now I play Call of Duty once a week, right? And if only I could make just some return other than the reward of fun, but return on that, I think that's really, really interesting. But so yeah, what can we say about gaming fostering social bonds and communities?
I think the difference between after now and before now, sorry, is it's about when we was a child, people who create video games are creators, are developers, and now everyone can do their own video game or can be a creator, with Roblox and Fortnite and this kind of video games can create something. And this is a change in terms of mindset for the people and for the brands, for sure. And anyone can create something. And some time ago, it's difficult. No, it's okay. The creator and narrative guys, but now, for example, the narrative guys can create their own narrative in a video game. No? And this changed a lot for me. And regarding with the pandemic moment, I think it was for sure grows a lot the industry.
Yeah.
But and it's not only for me, one of the most important things at this moment is that people knows or notice that the video game industry is not only for entertainment, it's for health as well, because there are people with these kind of communities that create, people can socialize, and can explain how they feel in this moment and play together, etc. But it's not like an entertainment; it's healthy moment. No?
Yeah.
For this, for example, last year we create the first incubation program for health, gamification for health industry with one of the most important hospitals in Spain, international, because they notice that with gamification and in this moment they can push and improve their own treatments for people.
I think that's super exciting, and I think it's super interesting. I mean, we're seeing this convergent where everything is becoming gamified, right? Like reward system mechanics, and so, and that kind of plays into this, elusive metaverse, which has been talked about for a long, long time, and probably has been kind of sidetracked by, Mark Zuckerberg and his team by taking the name Meta and then saying, well, this is what metaverse is going to be, which I absolutely disagree with. But there is this amazing opportunity for communities to bond in these digital realms. And I mean, Fortnite saw that, and that's why they opened up the Fortnite creator, for example. And the story goes that they actually saw the kids or the players hanging around in these lobbies and just conversing and doing all their silly dances, but chatting to each other, right? So people from all over the world meeting in these virtual realms and then having fun. And is this something that you guys are working at and are using in your companies?
Yeah, or you want to?
It's okay.
Yeah. The reality is that all the technology development started with a very proprietary mindset, like I build my own technology and I have a set of clients that I solve some problems to. But the reality is that the industry has really started growing exponentially in the moment we have shifted that mindset from fierce competition to much more open collaboration. And that is thanks to open source in general, open source mindset, agile development. And if we look into gaming, I think it's the perfect playground because gaming, in essence, has already the strongest communities probably around any other industry. Like people don't only feel like clients, they feel like a part of something that is bigger because they spend a lot of time shaping the quality of those solutions to those pain points, problems, etc. I think when game development matches the right incentive models, the right decentralization, we are going to see a whole new way of possibilities for this industry because people are going to look at it as if they are owners of these games that they actually love. And the moment that happens, I think the opportunities for community-driven projects are going to be enormous. Now we may think, well, the Ubisoft and all these big guys, whichever game studio you like, are unbeatable. But that's probably what many companies, many startups in 2007 thought, looking at mobility, looking at housing. And we have already proven before that approaching leadership with the right mindset, with the right values and technologies can make you a leader in a very short period of time nowadays. So that is exactly what I feel is going to happen in gaming, especially when we embrace Web3 in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also artificial intelligence brings a lot of new things to the table because you have really a rich world with NPCs that interact and a real world, let's say, because before you go to a multiplayer place and you have like NPCs that are really static, don't give you the feeling of real world. But right now, with artificial intelligence, we can make dynamic and changing NPCs that fulfill that words and give you the feeling of reality.
Absolutely.
And you can combine that with real people so you can interact, learn, give people with, like we say before, with difficulties or some different perceptions, the possibility to get relations with many people. I think it's going to be a game changer, the new technologies, and in the new years we're going to see how gaming with the new technology is going to change all the shape of the entertainment in the world. And we know technology goes faster and faster each year, so we don't know what we're going to show in 5 years from now.
And
I think it's really interesting.
It is super interesting. And just for those in the crowd who don't know what NPC means, it's non-player control.
Character.
Sorry, yeah. So I didn't even know, but I knew it's non-player.
Sorry.
And I work in this space. Thank you very much.
Control
but just on that, what we're working with at Behavioral, and this is just a little plug, but we're using AI and Web3 as well. And you know, you're using these large language models. And we've created these backstories that we put into these athletes, right? We're creating a sports omniverse where you can own and train and manage these athletes, but you can also conversate with them. And depending on where they're from, they will also answer you. For example, if they're Sri Lankan descent, they will come with Sri Lankan culture built into them. And then they also understand place and time. So if they're winning a match or they're losing a match and you have a chat with them, and that's in that point, they'll go, you know, I don't know if I'm going to win this, coach, but, you know, I'll do my best. And they bring that in, and it brings that new kind of, I guess it democratizes being a coach and bringing you closer to a sport or an athlete that you love. And then also using AI to actually make them play like real-world players. So they actually play like Rafael Nadal or, you know, LeBron James or whoever you may, Pau Gasol. Now that we're now that we're here, so that's also super interesting. And again, like you said, every day, if you don't go on LinkedIn once a day, you're going to miss out on a lot of AI growth. I mean, I spend half an hour a day, so that's just a tip. And for example, this next question is pretty interesting because, you know, the opportunities in gaming as well, like the economic opportunities in gaming, they're changing all the time. And I'm just going to start with one that I saw this morning, that IKEA in Roblox is actually offering a salary for people to come and play. So you can make 13 euros an hour being a Roblox character working in an IKEA store. Now that's pretty crazy, right? And I'm going to send this to my daughters and to my son and say, hey, go apply. Now you can play video games and make money and pay some rent at home, hopefully. But yeah, so economic opportunities in gaming.
Yeah. My vision is more 360 degrees. And as I mentioned before, for example, one of the good opportunity is gamification. Gamification for education, for healthy. So it's not only for the entertainment, or for the ecosystem, video game ecosystem, who everyone knows. This is a good gap to introduce our knowledge, because we can improve it a lot. So I think this is a good area a good opportunity to penetrate in terms of economics, for sure.
Speaking of health, I don't know if you're familiar with Steppen, which is also a Web3 project where you walk to earn. You have to buy these digital shoes, and then you track yourself on a GPS. So it actually, in a health space, people count their steps already. But in this sense, if you own one of these shoes, you're now going to be rewarded in tokens, which of course can then be also rewarded in exchange for monetary rewards or be used in other games as well. So in that sense, I mean, you could incentivize different, with the outlook and your focus is on health and mental health. I think that's really exciting.
But education as well, for example.
And education, of course.
Duolingo, no? Everyone knows Duolingo, and it's a good example.
Duolingo is a great example.
Yeah, a really good example who everyone knows. The language, improve the language with gamification. Yeah. No? And this knowledge, we have this knowledge because we are from gaming industry. So this, for me, it's one of the good way to work about it.
And to your point, Inigo, like these free-to-play games like Candy Crush and whatever farming game that's out there, I mean, they're fun and it's entertainment, but if it's free, like you said, then they're using your data, right? So, and that's also why I'm really, passionate about what Web3 can do, finding that balance on where it's fun, but where you're rewarded for your fun and the time put in. And so whether you play 20 hours a week or 50 hours a week, of course, it's a higher participation, higher reward. Or if I only have time to play 3 hours a week, then there's a smaller participation and a smaller reward. But finding that balance, I think, is really key.
What we need to understand, in my opinion, is that gamification is another phenomenon like other ones we have already lived by. Like it could be the internet, it could be mobile technologies, it could be social networks, it could be the cloud, it could be AI. It always starts with those hype cycles that we all know about, that Gartner describes. Then we go through that disillusionment until these technologies finally, give what they promise. So I think with gamification in today's current environment is super useful for any type of profile. I think everybody will enjoy having some gamified processes within their huge corporations or small, medium businesses. But the generation that is coming up, for them is going to be a must. Yes. We all have entertained ourselves since we started reasoning in different ways, but it's clear that the new generations spend a lot of time in these digital worlds, digital environments, and if the companies they may work for in the future don't offer them experiences of this kind at the workplace, no way they are going to work for them. And we are already seeing a huge transition, a huge shift in talent that tend to work in banks, telco, etc. No offense to these industries, but now we are seeing a lot of the top students actually join these game studios, join this industry in different ways, or even become entrepreneurs in the space. Yeah. So we need to really understand these users, these people, to really involve them in a way that is meaningful. So for some of them will be like a full-time job where they work every day for X amount of hours and get paid for it. You may say, well, 13 an hour is not that good, but I think it's not too bad. As an entrepreneur, I wish I could earn that. But in some countries, 13 an hour is something huge that takes them out from some awful jobs that they do elsewhere. So taking into that financial inclusion, and also that many people around the world don't even have an identity, don't even have a passport. So all of a sudden, over the internet, we are giving them an environment where it's fair for them to work, learn, and play. And this is, I think, fascinating, and it's going to drive the future of entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think gamification, it's the natural way we used to learn and do things. If you give a kid the possibility to put the glasses on the table, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's something useful. So I think it's like a philosophical thing.
Yes.
I think we are changing to that in the future. We are going to make work that is fun, and you get paid making fun things, and that's going to be amazing. And I think we need to change the mindset, because now we have many people that think that work needs to be boring.
No.
And that's something that's going to change in the future, in the near future. And those that realize that work needs to be fun are the ones that are going to win this competition.
And you're absolutely right. We've always learned best through story and through play, and then that goes through from when we were little kids growing up to where we are now. Yeah. And just to, we're going to have some closing remarks now. We're going to have to end. 30 seconds on the clock, yeah? Just think about where we're going with these when spatial computing comes out. We've seen the Apple Vision Pro out. When that becomes 5 Gen and everybody in here is wearing that on a Ray-Ban sized glasses, there's going to be a huge call for content. There's going to be a huge call for innovation and creation in that space. So, we have no more time now. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to this esteemed panel. And please ask any questions afterwards. We'll be out the back. Thank you.